All right, we're live here with Michael Higdon from Louisville, Kentucky, with another series here interviewing an agent, trying to add value to local agents around the area to pick up more business. I'm in the DFW market. Michael and I are friends going a few years back, and he's got some awesome stuff in his business that I want maybe you could put in your business. So if I'm not looking at the camera, it's because I'm taking notes, because I know he's got some cool things that he's doing that I don't do, but I do want to get put in play in my area. So, Michael, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, and we'll kind of go from there.
19 years in the business, 15 and a half years with Remax, 3.5 with EXP. It's been fantastic. I have a wife of 16 years now, and son Jacob, daughter Ava, and 2 dogs that are both pugs.
We both have Avis.
Busy as well, but strictly single-family residential here in the Louisville area. Never really done any commercial. Don't really want to, because it keeps me busy. Most of my business is primarily, I'd say 50-60% past client sphere of influence, with a strong mix of probates and estates, which I know we're going to get into on a little bit deeper dive, but that probably is about 1/3 of my business. And the rest I have a mix of for sale by owners, referral, expireds, just different things mixed in there.
So you got quite a bit of variation in what you do, and same with us. I'd say we're about the same, about 60% referral. Once you've been in the business 20 years, it's easier to get that 50-60+% referrals.
Yeah, I mean that's the gold. That's where it's easiest. I call it, you fishing in a lot of different ponds every day. I'm still heavy prospector, even 19 years into it. So
what does that look like for you? Prospecting. You talk about prospecting.
Yeah,
everybody's definition is different. So
yeah, I think I've been involved in different coaching programs, MF Mike Ferry for a long time. So that taught me to be heavily scripted, because if you internalize that script, you don't have to worry about what you're going to say to someone. So I still role play with people around the country every morning from 7:30 to 8. Then on the phones by 8 o'clock, usually go from 8 to 11 or 8 to 11:30, depending upon how many appointments I've set. But I like to get at least 30 contacts a day, and do a lot on the attraction side as well, which is talk to agents and tell them the EXP story. But that goes from expireds, and I call cancels, and I call for sell by owners, just listed, just sold, probably 8 to 10 of my past client sphere of influence, just to touch base with them. Then move on to probates, estates, probate attorneys, and just keep a healthy mix of, because if you're just one pond that you're fishing in every day, that's gonna limit you to the amount of fish that you're going to catch.
So every morning you have a role play partner, so that's pretty important.
Yeah,
sharpen the saw kind of thing, even though you do it every day. You doing this every day, 5 days a week, 7 days a week?
5 days a week. I don't really do much on the weekends anymore, just because I try to following my schedule, setting my schedule up to be successful during the week, because my family time is important to me. I've got 2 very active children. I'm a golfer, so I like to keep my family time limited to that. Doesn't mean it's always been that way. I've always done open houses in the past and taken buyers out in the past as well. But my business, I like to keep it 80% listing focused and 20% listing focused. My coach wants me to get to 100% referral, sending out all buyers to a buyer's agent. So we're working towards that. But yeah, very regimented in following my schedule, because I feel like if you come into the day like, hey, what am I going to do now? Then you've already set yourself up for failure. And if you follow your schedule in the morning hours, which we call money time, that's going to allow you to keep the snakes from getting out of the cage, per se, in the afternoon. Once you have appointments set, if you do what you're supposed to do in the morning, the rest of the day should set itself up for appointments.
So is you're a heavy time blocker then. So
yes.
When you go 8 to 11 and you're calling strictly call time, do you ever interrupt that with appointments, or that is your appointment?
No, that's where I'm setting appointments. And if somebody says, hey, can we come look at this house at 9 o'clock in the morning? No, I'm sorry, I already have an appointment at that time. That's when I'm working on, doing what I have to do in my business to be successful. And if you control that in the morning, then again, you may lose business on that. I normally don't. If you tell people exactly what you're doing to make myself better, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I've got available. anytime after 1 o'clock, I can either show you a house or we can get together.
Perfect. Yeah, no, and I think that's the common thread when talking to agents is they're very time structure oriented. They don't let their prospecting time get interrupted. They treat that as an appointment, just like you would a listing appointment. Because, I know when I was taught many, many years ago that I could actually book 3, 4, 5 appointments in a 2-3 hour session where I could only go on one. So which one is actually worth more money to me?
Absolutely.
Right? So that's awesome. You do that as well. Is there any processes or systems you use like to find expireds or canceled for sale by owners? Or are you just looking hot sheets or use a software?
I use a company. I've been using a company called Mojo, and I know there's others out there that I forget some of the names of them, but they will send you expireds, cancels every single day that do that for me. So when I get on there on my system, they're already there, and I'm calling in with a single line dialer, dialing the numbers. Now I do kind of cross-reference those to make sure that they're not active again, or on the do not call list, and make sure that I'm not calling into someone that I'm gonna get my hand slapped for per se. But yeah, that's just part of the due diligence every single day, that those are already set up. They pull, and of course I'm paying them to put for sale by owners into my system. So I'm not having to go out and research those every single day. And there's other services out there that will provide those for you as well.
Yeah, I know we utilize the Red X.
Yeah, I use Red X. That's great service.
Yeah, and the Mojo, I know Mojo has the dialer that's already built into it. That's kind of cool. And don't they have a triple line in there as well too?
They have a triple line, but I've found that my focus wasn't as much as it should be, and you end up losing some contacts on those. I know in some states it's not even legal. So I've used the triple line in the past. My coach recommended I just go single line so that I'm really focused just on that one person. And it does make a difference when you see that coming up, then I can quickly type it in on my MLS just to say, hey, I see your property over here on Main Street, came up as an expired listing, just reaching out professionally to see if we can offer you a different solution on that.
Perfect. And what are you utilizing on the probates, or how'd you get into when you sent me your bio and you told me about probates and what you've done, I was like, holy, yeah, I do a couple a year and they just kind of come. It's not like I have a system for them, but we were talking before we got on, that's something, unfortunately, that's going to happen no matter what the market is.
It is. I call it, if you're, expireds and for sale by owners, it's easy for someone to for sell a house right now by themselves. And expireds are very few and far between, especially in this compressed market and inventory. So about 8 or 9 years ago, I was on a team with 2 older gentlemen, about 15, 20 years my senior, and a lot of their database was unfortunately passing away. And we were dealing with a lot of states and a lot of probates. And I thought, there's something here. So I got a little more intentional on it, found a couple of companies that were providing that data on a monthly basis, and they now send me a spreadsheet and we go through it. And right now there's the largest wealth transfer going on in the United States from the baby boomers that are passing away. Again, it's not to sound morbid. It's just it's a fact of life that we're all going to go to that big real estate place in the sky one day. And a lot of these folks I've sold. So in the last 8 years, I've done about 150 estates or probates in that process and gotten very familiar with that. And these are easier sales because it's a different call. You have to be very compassionate with that. But a lot of times the properties are vacant, so you don't have to worry about someone moving out. 95%, there may be maybe a brother or a grandson or somebody living in the property. And so we reach out, I send a letter out to them just saying, hey, here's what we do. We know with a lot of estates like this, people need help with either clean up, just things, contractors that can help you with the process of getting it ready. And oh, by the way, if you get to a point where you're wanting to know what the value of the property is, maybe on a tiered basis. So if it's in bad shape, or sometimes we come across hoarders, things like that, you're going to get a myriad of conditions. You can tell them, here's the baseline price based upon the condition it has now. Here's the next tier if you do a little maybe paint and carpet replacement. And here's the top tier of what maybe similar properties have sold for in the area. Mr. Seller, where do you think we should price the property based upon that? And you can come in there and just be the knight in shining armor, because a lot of these folks are getting tons of letters from investors that say, hey, I'll give you this price. I'll give you $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 for it. I had a doctor client that was getting just that. And he says, well, this investor was going to give me $75,000. It was a nice little ranch. And I said, well, jokingly, I'll give you 75 or 76 for it. and we laughed about it like that. And I asked him, I said, do you have any money, that your mom's left in the account? And he said, yeah. I said, it had this ugly shag green carpet on it, but these beautiful pine floors underneath that hadn't seen the light of day for 50 years. And the walls were kind of an ugly mustard colored. So I said, if you peel this carpet up, just clean them, don't redo them, and then paint the walls, a nice neutral color. He did that, probably spent about $2,000, and we put it on the market for $150 and got it sold full price offer in one day.
Yeah,
so we took the $75,000 offer. Yeah. Exactly. And so we came off as a hero and, helped him all the way through the process. And a lot of folks, they've never been named as an executor in a will, and they don't know where to start that process.
So how are you finding these guys? Like, that's probably the secret sauce, right? Is how do you get to them before they?
There's a lot of different systems that you can use. You can go directly to your own courthouse, and I know some people that sends a runner down there and pull them on a weekly basis. You can get a subscription service. I think All the Leads is one online. US Probates is the one that I use. Sometimes the data can be a little bit older, but I find even if it is older, it doesn't matter, because let's say that they're still early on in the process of like 2-3 months have gone by. The bills haven't really started hitting yet. So they still may have some money in that account, but if the money starts running out and they're like, oh crap, the only money we have left is the equity in the home, they're going to be a bit more motivated to want to talk to you. So I never really get concerned about the timing of it, because they may have a relationship with a realtor. They're going to use them. They may want to keep it with the family. It's all a conversation just to say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I was calling about the property over here on XYZ. I show you as being the executor on that. Does that ring a bell? And they're like, yeah, that was mom's house. It's like, great. Again, I'm sorry for your loss. I just wanted to reach out and see if you or the estate may have a need to sell that property in the near future. And they're like, yeah, we do. We got a lot of cleanup and things to do. And I said, I understand. You're probably in the clean out phase. And, ultimately, what is your time frame that you want to be on the market with that property and get it sold?
Perfect.
And you're ascertaining, do you absolutely have to sell the property to be able to settle the estate? And they're like, yeah, we do. Great. Do you have someone that's an expert advising you on that process and maybe to help you maximize the return on the equity on the sale of the property?
Oh, that's perfect. I know when we deal with them, there are a little bit longer tail transactions, because you're having to deal with the probate or heirship affidavits or what have you. But by and large, those people are really committed to you, because you're helping them solve every problem, as far as cleaning the house out, improving it if they can just spend a few bucks. Yeah. It's
a much heavier lead follow-up type system but if you're setting, if you're setting the expectations early and often in those, meaning, hey, I understand you've got a couple months before you do anything, or it may not be out of the probate process yet, in order to, maybe find out what the property is going to be worth. When's the next time you're going to be over there doing some cleanup? And they're like, oh, maybe this Saturday. Would it be okay if I just pop by and see what it has to offer and give you some advice on similar properties that are selling in the area, and maybe just some advice on what you may not need to do as opposed to what you're doing? Because they think, oh my gosh, I've got to paint the walls, do all this work. And sometimes you just go in and say, you know what? It's a Pandora's box. As soon as you start one thing, as is going to save you a lot more money, especially in this market where people are paying a premium for any house. You could spend $30,000 and somebody's going to come in and undo all the work that you just did.
Right. And I have to assume, just from my own experience with a handful of these, but you're probably the only one at the table. You're not competing with 5 other realtors, 10 other realtors, like on an expired or canceled.
You're more investors. Now they get a lot of mailers and they're like, oh my gosh, I got a stack of mailers. But I get a lot of people that call me and say, you know what, your letter had a different tone. It was more compassionate, more professional. I have my picture on there. It says the Probate Realtor on there. So it kind of sets me apart a little bit. I think they're becoming more popular since, people are having to find other areas to get listings. But I found when I'm really not competing against a lot of other realtors, it's more investors, and they say, well, I could sell it for 100,000 to this guy who's going to give me cash right now. And then you got to say, that's one alternative. I can take off my realtor cap and put on my investor cap as well, because I'm an investor too. How do you want me to talk to you about this? Do you want to honor your mother, your father, your aunt, uncle, whoever's estate it was, by getting the highest amount of return on this? Or do you just want to give it away to some investor who's going to come in here and do exactly what I just said? They're going to put $20,000 into it, and then they're going to sell it for $40,000, $50,000 more and do a flip. Right. Which one do you want to do?
Yeah. So you want someone that's going to assault their equity, take as much of their equity off the table as possible, or do you want me to protect your equity and improve it?
Absolutely. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, well, and they've said, well, what would you give me for it? It's like, okay, which hat do you want me to wear? Because I bought some too. Then the guy's like, I don't care. I have no brothers, no sisters. I'm a single heir. I just want to get rid of it.
Right.
Okay, well, here's what we're going to do. I'll give you, $80,000 for it, which is what we did. And just being totally upfront, we're going to put 20 into it and we're going to flip it. He's like, that's fine.
Perfect.
And we did exactly that and sold it for 140 and made a nice piece of change on it. But we were absolutely above board on everything, which I think is important in this day and time. And I talk about that with our coach, is there's the Pinocchio syndrome, meaning Pinocchio was a wooden boy, right? Mm-hmm. And what did he want to be? He wanted to be real.
Right.
That was his sole goal. I want to be a real boy. So if you go into these listing presentations, whether it's with the states, whether it's anybody else, just be real. Just be honest. Even if it's painful sometimes, and that's going to come across and win you more listings if you're just real with people, especially in this day and time.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's take a step back. As far as your real estate team, do you have a team right now? Is it just you, or?
I was on a team for years, like I said, with 2 other senior agents, and we had an assistant and a buyer's agent. But then EXP came along, and I thought, I want to go back into being a solo agent. I have a transaction coordinator and a couple of buyer's agents around town that are with EXP that I refer stuff to. But okay. I've been predominantly a solo agent, just because I don't want to manage agents as so much as a team. And I totally appreciate the team model, but just for me, knowing who I am, I'd rather, bring people into EXP and show them how this has been a win-win for me, and show them the model. And
so you were at Remax 15 and a half years. Yeah. And was there a problem or issue that you were experiencing that you couldn't solve?
It wasn't a problem. It was, I guess I'll use the word comfortable.
Okay.
Which is a dangerous word sometimes, because you get comfortable, and with comfortable comes complacency. So when I had gotten to a point where I was doing, 50, 60, 70 deals a year, and I was like, you know what, I'm doing this. And I was being recruited by another agent to Keller Williams. And I was this close to going to Keller, and then she switched over, and there's this EXP company locally. And I was like, I called her. I said, what are you doing? I said, you recruited me over to Keller Williams, and now you're moving to this company. I would have killed you if I'd have made that move, and then you jumped ship. And she's like, well, you've got to look at this. And I was like, so I did. And I saw that all these other big hitters locally were making this move. And this was 3.5 years ago. I was agent, I think 9,000 or something. I was in the 9,000s, and we hit 75,000 this past year. But it's been so great because I make more money now doing the same exact thing that I was doing before. But I'm making more money 3 different ways. I've gotten the stock compensations. I've hit Icon Award twice with these awards back here, which just means that I've gotten my capping funds, which are $16,000, back in the form of stock rewards with the company that vest over a 3-year period. Well, guess what? I've been here 3.5 years. So now I'm getting all these vesting stocks being awarded to me that I'm turning around. And when I was buying those or being awarded those, the stock was like $6, $7, $8. Then it went up to $169, and it did a split. And then, now it's at $30, $31, I guess, over the last couple of days. But it's changed, it's really changed my financial future, because it's allowed me to, we moved houses last year, and we finished our basement to the tune of $100,000. We've gone on vacations.
That was all with the stock
This is all with the stock, and I just count that as it's not play money, but it's not something that I have like in a 401k or whatever. But it's real money. I've taken a lot of it and moved it towards some crypto and playing around with that. But again, every house that I sell, I make sure that I'm reinvesting in myself. I take 5% of that and buy company stock. Then again, as I get those rewards every year, there's multiple ways. And then if I tell people about the company and they come over to the company, then I'm making more stock rewards off their production. So there are just so many ways that, and I know you've taken full advantage of that as well. So cheers to you on that. But it's been business changing and life changing as well.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions is people think that, oh, you guys are a bunch of recruiters, you know, and I think that's because a lot of people have done this the wrong way.
Yeah.
You know, they act the wrong way, trying to recruit. You know, I try to show it as a benefit, you know, as far as you do the exact same things you're already doing.
Yeah.
Right. I still sell houses. I still list houses. I still sell houses. But every time I sell a house, I get a little bit of commission or a little bit of stock that comes with my commission.
There you go.
You know, and then if you're very productive.
I think they say only 5 to 7% of the people that join EXP ever take advantage of the attraction mechanism. And that's fine. It's not everybody's cup of tea. I thoroughly love it because it's simply a conversation. And a lot of times people are asking me at the closing table, so how's EXP working out for you? I'm like, it's great. Have you ever looked at the model? And again, I'm like, that's not to recruit you or anything. I'm just saying, if your gate's ever open, as our buddy Uncle Gene says, you know, if your gate's ever open, let me know. Just take a look at it. You'd be silly not to just take a look at it and compare it apples to apples, because there are a lot of people that do misrepresent it and mispresent it out there to folks, not in kind of in a, I don't want to say a fast food sort of way, but they say, look, here's the true bells and whistles, and there's a way to truly present this, because if you look at the numbers, it can truly change your life. When you and I are proof of that, we can show you on paper where that comes through. So whether you're, you know, with any of these great companies out there, like the Remax, the Keller Williams, whatnot, very fantastic companies, and there's a lot of big hitters out there. But if you're in this for the long game, which most people are, take a look at the model, because you have nothing to lose by just looking at it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, I was closed off, and I kick myself to this day for 2 years prior to when I actually came aboard, simply for the lost amount of stock and income I would have had if I had joined 2 years prior. I was in the 6,000s, like 6,500 when I joined.
Yeah,
April
so
18th.
You were even early, and don't get me wrong. There was a lot of trepidation and anxiety that came with that. You're kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm leaving this island of Remax that I've been over here a long time. And I guess I used to get these wooden planks, these wooden plaques that said, hey, congratulations. Here's what you did on your executive or Hall of Fame. And here's a pin. You know what else I got with that?
What? That was nice.
Go do it again.
Right.
And that was it. Now it's like I hit these awards and it's like, oh, your stock account's going up. Oh, you've been able to bring another agent over. So I took those awards, all of them, after my second year at EXP, and I burned them. I had a big bonfire out back here. It was like, you burned all your Remax awards? I'm like, yeah, because all they were it was just a stack of wood.
Right. Yeah. It was the agents, unfortunately, crave attention or crave, recognition, not attention, I guess. And yes, it's nice to be recognized. We've got awards and stuff we get from EXP too when we hit Icon. Yeah. But I would rather be recognized financially. And It has been a life changer for my family, and I know it has for yours. And,
I mean, I'm not going to break the glass right here, but that's really all it is. But ultimately, it's about, we do this to help folks out and help them sell houses, but we do it to show us the money. show us how we're going to improve because I've got goals and dreams and, kids that are going to go to college and have to eat and, in private school. And that's allowed us to do some really special things with this company and see it grow. And we get to go on special trips and see each other and hang out and, and do fun things.
Awesome. Well, hey man, we've been over here about 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep you too long. I want to keep these kind of short. But I appreciate you coming on here. If somebody's watching, definitely reach out to myself or Michael, and we definitely will not, recruit you. We will show you just what your income looks like here based versus Remax or Keller Williams or whatever.
Only if they want to be recruited, right, Aaron?
Only if they want to, but I honestly, I hate when people just shut me down because I know what they're turning away and they don't.
We're only looking for people that are looking for us, right?
Yeah, that's it. But definitely reach out to Michael if you got anybody moving into the Kentucky area. He services the whole state.
Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
It's only this big,
It's only this. It's little. Yeah.
I'm in Texas, so
But
Kentucky's
yeah,
small.
Louisville, Kentucky. Give us a call.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to be interviewing more agents just like Michael, maybe bring him on, go a little deeper into something. So definitely, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like this, what have you. And I hope to see you guys on the next one. And thanks again, Michael. I'll see you here in a month or two, right?
You're around, buddy. Thanks, Aaron.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.